grace for you. No need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.
And shalom aleichem. Good day to each and every one of you. So glad that you're here with us. This is the opportunity that we have to come on to this program and talk about the will, the word, the purpose, the plan of Yahweh, who is our Elohim. And in light of that, understanding that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh, who is our Elohim. So today we are here glad to bring you the proceeding word. Listen, I got some information from Facebook, and I need your help today. Those of you viewing in with us on the programming, those of you who are on our Facebook page, we did experience an idea with the Facebook grouping. And for those of you who may or may not know what that does, I was given a notification that we received $2.13 from Metaverse, right? I'm going to make this announcement later on again, but I want to make sure you understand something. When we first started, they told us that they were interested in helping the ministry to be able to, maybe have some type of a monetization. It's not my interest. We're going to be here whether there's any support by anybody. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. We're going to be here because this is what Yahweh's called us to do. We don't beg for, ask for, need your capital to make these programs work. But we can always do better, right? So when we were notified by the group called Meta, i.e., formerly known as Facebook, they introduced and said that we are having enough traffic on our page to actually have someone consider it being a monetized space. So we told you guys about that a few months back. And the idea that they have is a little bit different than YouTube's. YouTube, you have to have a certain amount of followers and all that goes with that. We just don't market it. We're not going to do that. We're not going to hire some group to come in and market us to be so many followers and force ourselves into people's lives. But I want to make sure we get this straight in this little piece of housekeeping here. And that is that we do, in fact, receive a little stipend from the Meta. A few months back, when we first starting about it, they told us that what they would require is that there would be some type of activity on our chat page. So the more times you all chat on our page, on our thread, that's to your left here, to your right, my left. When you chat in that box, that gives them a reason to start pushing forward based on their algorithm and getting people who say that there's something hot happening on this page and then come and view it in. And what they will do is, if you can drive traffic by your chat, they will in fact give you some stipend. Well, this month I just received a $2.47 stipend. Now I'm telling y'all that for disclosure. And so I know that a few months back, I went to go check that same account, and it went from $30 per month to $2.47 per month. And then when I inquired from those who know about that space, because we're not necessarily interested in it, but hey, if we can get it so we can enhance and increase what we do through these videos and virtual spaces that we're on, we'd love to be able to do that. And so we noticed that it went from $35 to $2.47 over since, the last time it was checked out in December or something like that. So the end of January, they send you the check for your activity. So what we're asking you guys to do is, when you come on for Facebook and definitely for YouTube, would you please on YouTube subscribe, hit the bell, and subscribe to that YouTube page, vwjministries.com. If you're on there and you have not subscribed, please do. Even if you're a troll or a hater of ours, just subscribe. This way you still get notified when we go live. But also on Facebook, and same narrative and subjection, whether you are pro or con of this programming, just go ahead and like the page and make a comment in the chat. just where you're from or whatever, or amen or whatever. If you agree, you don't agree, whatever. Just don't be rude and anti whatever. Just make a conversation. And so what that does is it apparently moves them to sow into your media efforts and campaigns. So for us, we use it to enhance what we have and keep all that we do functioning. But I just noticed that today it went down. I just happened to check it before I came on. It was just a notification that says, "Hey, you got something." I go, "Oh, what's that?" Da, 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 da. Meta's like $2.47. Bam! I'm like, "Yay! Woo! Yahweh be praised!" And all we have to do is chat in our Facebook page and in our Facebook chat, and it does something to their algorithms, and they determine what they give you based on that per monthly cycle. But we did notice that it was like $33 difference from the previous 2 months that they gave us. We were averaging about $30 per month from Meta. You're like, that ain't nothing. You got these YouTubers making thousands and hundreds of thousands. We're not interested in that. If it should happen, Yahweh be praised. We'll use that to promote this type of teaching to the world in a greater and more excellent platform. That's all we are interested in doing. So our thought was, hey, maybe you don't know that when you in fact engage, give us some keystrokes, kind keystrokes. I will delete foolishness or at least respond to it. You might not like how I respond to your foolishness because if it's just foolishness, it's foolishness. But if you enjoy the page and you think that others could glean from the page, feel free to just say, "Hey, it's me. I'm calling from Timbuktu." You know what I mean? Wherever that might be. And let it be known that you're out there. And you never know how you, without putting a dime out of your pocket, could cause an organization looking for that traffic flow to actually aid in that process and that function for what we do and how we are in this space. So we're asking you to consider that and look at what that looks like in the time and space so that we can do what's necessary and have back what you need today to be a part of supporting this ministry. And we are grateful to have you, honored to have you, and look forward to having you on this program at any time you come on. So you can support literally monetarily by just making a keystroke. Costs you nothing but a few seconds to type in something. If you'd help us out with that, YouTubers, we need more subscriptions. And we're not asking you to share it. We're just asking you to talk about it while we're in it. Is that all right? But welcome to the Proceeding Word. This is yours truly, Apostle V.W. Jones. Wanted to get that housekeeping out of the way. And like I told you guys, we are not here for likes. We don't do this for likes. We do this to help people with kingdom life. And if you're trying to live in the kingdom for Elohim, then I want you to know that this is going to be about helping you get to that place. And well, today's broadcast is going to be dealing with a subject matter that's really relatively important. We're going to come to that in just a few moments. But I want to give you just an announcement. Later on today, we're going to be here after today's Proceeding Word, where we get going every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can be here and you're there. We're going to teach you things that help you to live and in accordance with and filtered by the Torah, which is in your Bible. And how does Yahweh, our Elohim, the God of our salvation, really desire we live in this world that we are a part of and participate in? All right. So let's make sure we consider that. Also, we are here every Wednesday night on Wednesday night Bible studies at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight we'll still be talking about the Feast of Yahweh. We'll be using our chalkboard as well as our media as best we can to make visual imagery for you to understand a concept that people have not understood. Though now I'm seeing a whole bunch of people now talking about Sabbath that weren't talking about Sabbath before. And at the end of the day, we're just glad to be a participant in aiding with good information, proper information to that end. All right. Then on Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same channels. If you're here on YouTube and or Facebook, if you are on Clubhouse, you got to go to the Bible Book Club house and like it. And if you are on Clubhouse, you got to go to the Proceeding Word and like it. You got to go also to the Darash Kingdom Ministries house and like it, ask to join in, and we'll get you going. But every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're here on the Bible Book Club. And we're reading the Bible from beginning to end. Of course, you know that we're Sabbath keepers here as well. We want you to realize that every Friday at sundown till Saturday at sundown is the Sabbath, the Shabbat of Yahweh our Elohim. And we are for 24 hours locked into his word and his words alone, right? And then after that, we have the morrow after Sabbath service, which is what we do on our Sunday morning services from 10:15 until we're done there on that day, talking about what we learned in Shabbat and leading into more of the conversations we need to have about how we live in the earthen realm. So we got all those things covered. We'll have some more announcements later on, but we want to make sure you are aware of this. And this is the biggest announcement. Remember, on social media, people get caught up and sucked in the vortex, but this programming and any programming you have under VWJ or the Rosh Kingdom Ministries is not for likes. It is for kingdom life. And we want you to be aware of that and prepared for that. So today's broadcasting, I want you to see it in real terms, is going to be dedicated to having done all, stand. Many of us are going through struggles and different issues and different keeps and different issues. After all you've tried using affirmations, attempting to create or create a manifestation in your life, after trying and not seeing, just stand. Let's get into Ephesians 6 and understand what Paul is talking about here as we deal with the issue of having done all, just stand. Well, again, we're going to pull up the book of Ephesians, chapter number 6. That's my job to do it. I love handling that. It's something that we love to see, and we want to make sure you get an opportunity to embrace it. But how many of you have been keeping the great challenge? That's what I meant to talk about also. There's a challenge that we have going on right now in this month, the month of January that we're in presently. It's a 31-day challenge. When you're reading, you see Ephesians 6, verses 5 through 9. So I'm going to take us into that so we can come out of it. If you're on Clubhouse, you can open up your VWJ Ministries on Facebook and or YouTube and pull up the Bible with me while I'm going live, and we can make these definitions clear for you. But we're challenging you to read every day before you start Ephesians 6, 5 through 9. We want you to read it so that you can follow its instructions. And because of this, you work every day. 6 days shall a man work, the seventh day shall that man rest. You're reading this so you know how to operate with humanity, children, husbands, wives, bosses, contractors, clients, subordinates, and superiors. How do we operate? Neighbors, police officers, mayors, governors, presidents. How do we operate in the earthen realm? So we're going to chat about that today. And remember, having done all to do, we want you to learn how to, in fact, stand. Let's get into the word today. We're going to go to Ephesians chapter and number 6. Let's get started there very quickly. It's going to be a fun thing to do. We want you to be a part of it as we prepare in this moment to go right into that passage. Ephesians chapter 6. My Bible's up on the screen. Let's go. Man shall not live by bread alone. Let's learn how to live the way Yahweh wants us to live. Ephesians chapter 6. I'm going to do this because the challenge is also for the 31 days. Many of you are already in that challenge. Let's just recap that challenge, but I promise you, we're going to make it down to 6:12. All right, we're going to make it to 6:12. We're going to scan through Ephesians chapter number 6, and I'm going to give you a recap of your challenge for the next 30 days and what that looks like practically. And this is how we live. You don't just go around in Christendom thinking that you're going to be special and because you're able to think on something hard enough that you're going to manifest it or you're going to be a better person. The only way to be a better person that you are right now is to obey the word. And the only way to obey the word is to perpetually remind yourself of the word day in and day out. And sometimes you have to literally, like working out as you get older, you might not like getting up to go to work out, but if you do, you'll love the results. But getting started can be difficult. And it's the same way with how you operate in kingdom life. You cannot afford to lag off. So the more you remind yourself of the word, the more the word is in mind. And if the word is in mind, it will then be contemplated in your heart. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You can also say the hands touch and the feet go to whatever the heart is exuding, whatever the heart is exclaiming, is proclaiming. And that's why David says, your words, Yahweh, I've hid in my heart that I and my body, my members, my mouth, my eyes, my feet, my hands might not sin against you. But this is what we need to understand today about how to live the kingdom life, not just the stuff we say, mimic, and make epithets from within Christendom and the idioms we use there. So, to understand how to please the Father, you must understand what the Father wants. His word is what he wants perpetually reminded personally from us to us about him. And you can't just wake up every day and go to the Kitchen Soup webpage just to get another word, or go to the U Bible and they're dropping off of a Bible verse for today, or go to, with all due respect, the Daily Bread and have that devotional in your face, because that's biblical, may not be Torah. And Torah is the word. And the word is not the Bible, but in the Bible contains the word. So just getting passages from the Bible doesn't mean you're getting the word of God to actually give you the way to live it. You might see an example, but if you don't know where it came from, your example of Paul, Peter, James, John, even Yeshua, David, Moshe may be skewed because you don't know why they're doing it. And then you start doing it your way, and we're off because our ways are not like his ways. As far as the heavens are from the earth, so are our thoughts from his. So to understand how to please the Father and get him to move in places with you, you've got to perpetually remember and keep his word. Now, once you've started doing his word, you are going to come up against opposition from the enemy of his word. That's right. Faith. Faith comes by hearing. Hearing comes by the word of Elohim. Once you start doing the word of Elohim, intentionally making it your business to put learning his word every day, especially on the Sabbaths. Once you start really getting into keeping Sabbath, honoring him by not doing your own thing, not seeking your own pleasures, and only speaking his word, the enemy of faith, always reconning, always trolling you, always looking over you. No, not Clarice, not Jim Bob, not ABC News, not TMZ, not those people. You wrestle not against flesh and blood. You're going to learn that in a minute. But you wrestle against principalities and powers. That's what's reconning you. That's what's paying attention to, one, what you consume spiritually, and then what you render based on your consumption. So when you, in fact, are demonstrating the consumption of righteousness, evil is looking for every way it can do to make you eat those words, eat those actions, make those actions be evil spoken of, and find individuals or entities or ideologies and or proclivities that they can literally exploit in your life to make you not look like what you now, because you're reading his word, are saying you believe. So this is why it's extremely important to understand you're going to be challenged every time you say, I love God. I love God. Every time you say, I'm going to do his word, I'm going to do right. Some of y'all said this last 28 days ago or whatever it was, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm going to serve God better. You did that. The enemy is waiting for every little crack that you make, every little step you make, so they can slip in, accuse you of the brethren, right? And then, in fact, make you eat the words that you said you're going to start doing. So you got to understand, you got to do all you can do to stand, because the moment you think you are feeling good about serving God, about doing his will, about treating your neighbor like you should, forgiving people more easily, not judging people and being slow about that, quick to be quiet, quick to listen, slow to speak. As you're doing these things of righteousness' sake, the enemy is going to come as best he can. And you're like, okay, Elohim, I'm doing your will. Things are looking better. I'm seeing things better. I can handle these pressures. You're helping me burden bear, and you're doing everything you can. But after a while, though you become more consistent with it, the enemy amps up its attack. And sometimes you don't pay attention to it, and it can let you find yourself in a condition that you're like, okay, God, now I'm doing the best I can. And it seems like it's not moving. And though you might say, well, if I do this, other people getting away with it, I can do this, or I can do that, or I can get why. Just remember, having done all, just stand. No matter how burdensome it gets, whatever you got to grab onto, the kitchen chair, whatever you got to grab onto, the wall, the door, whatever you got to grab onto, the broom, the stick, the cane, you just stand and let Elohim help guide you through and walk you through everything you have need of in this season. So let's get into Ephesians real quick before we get going, so we can get going into this truth of what these things are. Ephesians chapter 6, let's look at verses 1 through 9, which is a part of your challenge, and let's look at what Elohim is doing. Let's learn how to fight. Let's learn how to walk. Let's learn how to talk, and let's learn how to perpetuate his word in our lives on a daily basis. Children, obey your parents. Verse 1, Ephesians 6:1. Children, obey your parents in Adonai. What? Right. In Adonai. For this is right. Because when you obey your parents according to the Torah, according to the instructions of Adonai, that's what the word Lord there means. All right. Children, verse 1, obey your parents in Adonai, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother. This is the first commandment that bears a promise. Verse 3, look at what he says. Very interesting. That it may be well with you and that you may live long on the earth. Verse 4, and you fathers, provoke your children not to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and in the admonition of Adonai, of the word. Verse 5, servants, here it is. This is what you guys should be reading every day before you get to work, right? Every day when you get to that cooler, you get to that parking spot, before you go inside, before you get before you get into the shower, you should be reading this multiple times in the morning, right? And at your lunch break. If you ain't read it today, read it now. Read it with me and then read it when you get done. Verse 5 through 9 is your challenge for the next few days of this month of January. Verse 5, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh. Do this with fear and trembling. Do this with singleness of your heart, as if you're doing it unto Messiah. No, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as the servants of Messiah, doing the will of Elohim from the heart. So that means you got to know the will of Elohim, right? Well, what's the will of Elohim? You got to go into his word to find out. Where's his word? I got the Bible open. It's not just the Bible. His word is in the Bible, but you got to know where in the Bible to find his word. And here's what I'm going to help you guys do. Where do you find the word of Elohim? The first 5 books of your Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Those are the words of Elohim. The other books are testimonials of those who obeyed and testimonials of those who disobeyed the words of Elohim. And then a third part of that are the prophecy manifestations of the prophecies explained in the words of Elohim. That's why the story of Yeshua is so important, because he's the fulfillment of the prophecies of the word of Elohim. But when you read the stories of Chronicles, the stories of Kings, the stories of Esther, the stories of all the different historicals, Joshua, all those different stories, they are confirmations or reports of those people in an era of time that did obey, comply, and they are records of those who did not obey or comply, non-compliant, and how their lives are turned out. Or how their lives turned out to be a blessing, how they moved away from the Father because of how they paid attention to the words, the instructions of Elohim. So now when Messiah shows up at what you call the beginning of the New Testament, he is and telling you, I did not come to destroy the Torah, nor the prophets, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Jeremiah, Obadiah, Jonah, nor the prophets who kept reminding you of the Torah. I came to show you how to live it. Y'all know my favorite saying, now walk it out. Now walk it out. Because I came to show you how to live it. That's what Messiah did when it came to the word of Elohim. That's why he says, I am the living word. Oh, that hits different when you see it that way, doesn't it? But here is the thing. He too, having done all he could do, he stood on the word. When they talked about him like a dog, when they tried to kill him several times, because he knew what the word asked of his life, he did not retaliate against them. Though they came and arrested him, Peter cut off a man's ear. He put the man's ear back on because he was standing on the word's prophecy of his life. So when he tells you, I only stand on the word, everything you and I do, no matter what, no matter how the world or how the world of evil attacks you through people in the world, remember, you're not wrestling against flesh and blood. You're wrestling against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places. And those things are what drive people of pulchritude, drive people of humanity to actually try to push you to a place where you lose your cool, where you find yourself compromising on your faith, where you find yourself stepping into unrighteousness and pity-patting back and forth with the pleasures of that world. But remember, it's not the person that's doing that. They might be trolling you. They might be besmudging your name. They may be damaging your character by rude rumors, reputation, conjecture, and anything else they can do. But it's not that person. So you don't hate that person. You just know, oh, this is a spirit trying to get me to step outside of who I am. Having done all, take on the barrage, the hits. If you got the armor all, you will be able to stand when the enemy shoots fiery darts at you, but you got to stand based on and dressed in the word. Let's look at how Paul writes it so we can better understand it. Now, this type of an analogy is so simple that even a child can understand it. Remember, Yeshua lived according to the word, came into the world according to the word, lived in the world according to the word, died on the cross according to the word, was buried in the grave according to the word, was resurrected according to the word, and ascended according to the word. And having done all of that pressure, of that abuse, and of that, we call that torture, having done all, he stood on the word, and the word, even though they buried him, caused him to be resurrected. Man, that adds a whole new meaning to having done all you can in your natural being, having the word as a fuel to your existence in the earth. Stand on the word. Don't get caught out of the armor. Don't get caught outside the word, and let the word elevate you in where you are. Having done all, we want you to realize, having done all, even if it makes you buckle, even if it makes you hurt, even if it causes you pain, having done all, just stand. Now, let's look at what the word says again. Let's go back here now to Ephesians chapter number 6, verse number 6. He told you as people, in the earthen realm. Let's go to verse number 4. We're going to get down to 12. I promise you. He says, servants, verse 5, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as if you're doing it unto Messiah. To understand what Messiah wants, you got to earn and learn the word of Messiah, right? That's the Torah. Verse 6, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as servants of Messiah, doing the will of Elohim from your heart. That's why David says, your word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against you. And no matter what the enemy is trying to do, no matter how many of them are trying to kill me, move me off my post, make me scared, make me stick my head in the sand, I got to stand on his word. His word will bring me over. Now watch this. Verse 6 says, not with eye service. Don't serve these people. Don't serve your bosses with eye service as if you're trying to please men. But you want to give service to your bosses as if you're serving Messiah himself, doing the will of Elohim from your heart. Verse 7, with good will do your service as if you're doing it unto Adonai. And don't worry about it as you're not doing this unto men. While you're working in the earth, do your goodwill. Do what HR has asked you. Do what the job has required of you and contracted you for, as if you're doing it unto Adonai and not unto these men who may keep changing the game on you, who may keep moving the goalposts, who may make a very clean ceiling over your head and make you think you have an ability to ascend on this ladder corporately further than you are, but have every intentions of fooling you and keeping you beneath a certain level and standard. So don't give them service as if you're giving it to them who you know are cheating you. You give this service to them regardless, as if you're doing it unto Adonai. Verse number 8 goes on to say, know this, know this, know this, know this, person, know this, Mr. and Mrs. Human, know this clearly, that whatsoever good thing any man does, especially a kingdom believer, the same shall that man, woman, receive of Adonai, whether he be bond or free. So if you cheat in your job out of paper clips and cheat in your job out of smooth rubber bands, and cheating your job out of ink pens, and cheating your job out of post-it notes, and cheating your job at a time on lunch, and cheating your job with cigarette breaks and water breaks and all the different breaks you don't really have to, but you can get by with it because it's a gray area and everybody else is doing. Know this, verse 8, whatever good thing any good man does, any man does, any womb man done, any hue man does, that same good thing shall he receive of Adonai. It don't matter if that person is bond or if that person is free. Just know that. Somebody say, I'm going to do good so Elohim can do good to me.
I'm going to do good so Elohim can do good to me.
See, it's a big difference when you're letting Elohim do you good because you've done good to other people. So when you've done good to other people, not trying to be all deep and brag about what you did and brag about what you said and do your alms in public, do those good works in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will glorify you openly, will reward you openly. And whatever good thing, verse 8, whatever good thing you do, a man does, the same shall that person receive of Adonai, whether he be bond or free. Oh, and by the way, you masters, you bosses, you owners of companies, you employers of people, you directors of organizations, you operations management and department heads, you do the same thing unto them. You do good unto those people behind you, forbearing threatening them. Don't you dare threaten them. If they don't know what to do or they're showing poor productivity, they appear to be incompetent, you continue to train them until they prove this is not the job for them. Then you let them go appropriately, but you do not threaten them. You don't get on top of them and put your thumb and your foot on their neck. You forbear threatening. Verse 9, and you masters do the same unto them, forbear threatening, knowing, masters, that your master also is in heaven. Neither is there respect of person with him. So just because you the boss in the flesh and your subordinate loves God like you say you love God, but you in your flesh oppress, threaten, come down on, forbear on them, unnecessary pressures for whatever reasons to stroke your ego, whatever you do to them, Elohim has no respect of person. He'll make sure it's done to you.
Come on.
Finally, my brethren, here it is. Now we're getting to why we're here. So y'all realize, if you read that with me with some understanding, you've kept your challenge for day number 24 of this 31-day challenge. We got 7 more days to go. Y'all ready? We can get it done. We can do this like it's supposed to be done. So now you've read that challenge. I recommend you read it again before you leave work so you can get it in your head. I don't care what they said, what they do. What's my job description? Here's the thing. This is something I'm told to give you right now. This is coming fresh from Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, if you're at work right now, give your boss what you contracted to do. I don't care if the person in the next cubicle, in the next office is doing it different. They're finding ways to schemes and scams, and they're finding ways to cheat and to get by doing less work, so they can get the same pay. Whatever you contracted with that client, with your employer, and masters, whatever you contracted with your client, you make sure you do that. And you do that as if it was your only client. You do that as if it's the only way you can make sure you get paid. You do that as if you're doing it unto Elohim himself and waiting for him to say, well done, my good and faithful, keeping of the contract servant. This is what we got to understand about this charge and this challenge, because we are real quick to slip into shady zones sometimes. We real quick to be like, well, I ain't really got to do it. They're not going to really check it. Now, do they have to micromanage you to make sure you get it done? They shouldn't have to. Not if you're a believer in the kingdom. Not if you're an operator in the kingdom. If you're kingdom operating in life, then you should be giving exactly what that instruction, that HR, that employee handbook, whatever it is your job description is, you should check that thing off every day and do that job that way. You ain't so holy that you're going to have angels do your job. You ain't so holy that Jesus is going to come down and take the wheel. You have to do what you contracted to. You vowed to do a certain thing, do that certain thing. If you're a boss and you hired somebody, you treat that person as if, because they're doing the job you're supposed to be doing, allowing you to make a different concert happen and a proper construct of efficiencies. So use that person effectively, consciously, and kindly. And whatever good thing you do to them, yeah, it might cost you a couple extra dollars because inflation hit you. You got to raise up on cost of living. You got to raise up on minimum wage. If you got them at minimum wage, you got to make sure they get better bonuses. Yes, whatever good thing you do, Mr. Master, Mr. Boss, to them that are doing good to you, Adonai is going to do it back to you. So now you may get a client who says, hey, your staff that you've been good to, they have been giving me the top-notch service. I recommended my Uncle Jimmy, whose company is bigger than mine, to come to your company because of the service I'm getting. He's got 89 more clients than I got. So now guess what happened, Mr. Boss Man, treating your employee right, and your employee now dedicating that service to that client. All of that, Yahweh has a way of making a cycle of keeping you in a position where you're in demand. And now you're going to be getting more business because you were faithful over a few things with that one person, that one employee, those 5 employees, those 100 employees, making sure you kept the program going right, didn't cheat them out of workers' compensation, didn't cheat them out of their overtime, didn't try to find loopholes to get out for the tax breaks. You made sure you gave them what you contracted with them for. And Yahweh will make other people come in and contract with you so you can actually hire more people, because you can be trusted to create an environment that literally fosters a proper commonwealth experience in the earthen realm. Man, this goes deeper than you thought, don't it? But if we don't think about that every day, then we will get out there and cheat our clients. We'll cheat our boss. We'll take more time on our breaks than we're supposed to. We'll take more time on our 15-minute breaks than we're supposed to. We'll take more Post-it notes home and justify it. We'll be in the great closet raiding it for paper, taking home paper for our copiers at home. Y'all know the stuff we used to do. Oh yeah, I'm calling it all out, because that's not giving your boss, your place, the honor that it deserves and is supposed to have. If I'm helping anybody, would y'all just throw up the hallelujah hands? You know, the hands you put up there, put them in the threads on Clubhouse, on Facebook, on the emojis, on the PTRs out there. Would y'all just throw the hands up, give them up, and let the enemy know we are becoming more informed. So again, this is the part. That was the follow-up. Now let's get into the preceding words, real emphasis and point for today. Now look at this closely. I want you to hear this. So when we look at now, we finished the challenge. So you just did your challenge. You just read 6 through 9. Now let's go to verse 10. Do you realize that Paul says, verse 10, finally, my brother, let me read verse 9 again. Now, let me read verse 8 again, just to keep you encouraged. Verse 8 says, knowing this, that whatever good thing any man does, that Yahweh, Adonai rather, will do the same to that person, whether they're bond or free. Verse 9, and you masters, don't think you get away either. You must do unto these employees and to those as if you do unto them the same way. Don't be threatening them, threatening their jobs and their livelihoods, knowing that your master is also in heaven and there is no respecter of persons with him. Verse 10, listen, finally, brethren of the faith, brethren of this type of lifestyle, you got to be strong in Adonai. Somebody say, be strong in the word. That's what that means. Be strong in Adonai.
Strong in the word.
Be strong in Adonai and in the power of his might, not yours. So there are times when things will happen to you as a believer, as a brother of the faith, and you will be, like strong in your opinion. We got to learn. I've had to learn. I'm still learning every day. I got to stop trying to be so strong in my opinion and demanding people know how I feel about what you did. And I think you should be able to do it. Every day I have a conversation with somebody different who thinks because they've become familiar with you, become familiar with me, that they can just say whatever from hell or supposedly heaven they want to say. And you're supposed to just sit back and deal with it because they got an opinion of how you're supposed to interact. You're supposed to engage with them. And you should be able to return my text. You should be able to keep my meeting. You should be able to wherever we at. And you should be able to do it. 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 And you should be able to every day, time and time again. In the day I get these conversations. But if you don't know what I've got going on, you don't have the right to say what I should do. If I made a contract, if I made time with you, if you sent me a text and I don't respond until tomorrow, it's not that I'm blowing you off. It's that something has kept me from getting to that. And you never know how much stuff a person's dealing with. Maybe they needed a 12-hour break because all the other hell they're dealing with has them at a point where they want to snap, and they're trying to do what? And all that they can do, stand on the word. So they may need to take away and unplug for 10 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 7 hours from everything else coming at them so they can handle what's on their plate and stand. Having done all to stand, I'm not going to lose my mind right now. I'm not going to crash right now. I'm not going to respond in the anger that I feel welling up inside of me. I'm going to just stand on his word. I'm going to love my brother as I love myself. I'm going to give my heart to do the will of the Father. I'm not going to murder this person. I'm not going to expose this person. I'm not going to fight with this person because I know I'm not wrestling against that person. This is the principality and power. These are principalities and powers coming through these several different human forms, human people, to get me to step outside of the righteousness I've read in my heart, the righteousness I'm speaking from my mouth, the righteousness I'm exuding from my work of my hands and my feet. And I need this moment to just not get more stuff on me. I can't respond to anything right now because I am angry. The Bible says, be angry, but sin not. And until you understand that this is a significant thing, people who think with their opinion, you should have called me back. You should have said something to me. You should have told me this. You should have did that. I don't know of who you are and what you are. And I should have. And if it was me, I would do. You don't know what you would do in somebody else's situation. So sit your narrow behind down until you put on their size 13s. You ain't got nowhere to walk. If you got a size 8, you can't even bear the same burden that 13-footer is carrying. So until you understand that, you don't have an opinion in that person's life. So people will come at you and make you feel like they got a right to tell you what to do. They got a right to tell you what you should have did. It only takes 2 seconds for you to do this. I got people tell me one day, I have people that help me make posts on our social media. When you posting on social media, you don't know who's posting on my social media. You don't know what we got scheduled from 4 days ago that automatically comes up when we want them posted. Well, I see you posting. You can see me post all day long. You don't know how that post got there. Stop thinking you have the right right to count somebody's pockets, count somebody's pockets of time, and count somebody's responsibilities that they got to put in a priority above yours. Though they love you, they might not be able to get to you. It don't mean that they dropped you on your head. It doesn't mean that you dropped between the cracks. It may mean you're not at that level of priority based on the sincere situations that have come in today. They have every intention of getting to you, but they can't if something comes in like a death, like a murder, like a rape, like a family crisis, or whatever it may be, like a medical scenario. You have no idea who came up and got infirmed with something and passed out and knocked out and body gave out on them. But you so caught up, these people can be so caught up in their own selfishness that they don't realize this is the enemy of faith using them to get someone else out of sorts. And those people have to sometimes draw back in and maybe 5 hours just shut down from the world. You know how you do when you get a migraine? If you ever had a headache, you just say, look, in order for me to be productive, I got to have all black right now. I can't even take another text. I can't even take another email. I can't even respond to another meeting. You should have told me, and you're supposed to call. Sometimes you don't know what you can and can't do, but it's funny because when they have to shut down, they want the world to understand. You had the same amount of appointments, you had the same amount of engagements, you had the same amount of interactions, and you had to shut down. But when it happens to that person, they want the world to understand. You see, that's the trick of the enemy. And he utilizes entitlement. And he utilizes familiarity to get you to do all these different types of things. But when a person can shut down for a moment and say, I am overwhelmed at this moment, I am angry at this moment. Listen, it's okay to be angry. You just don't sin. And if I don't shut down for a second, or if I don't handle this one issue over the other 18 I'm finagling right now, I got to get this one done because it's so important to these people's lives and or mine that if I don't get this right, I'm going to mess up these other 18 I'm finagling. That is you as a person having done all. You're standing, okay, Father, how do I fix this? Because you stand on him, you stay dressed in his armor. You may be angry, you may be frustrated, you may be upset, but when you can sit and you can stand and say, Father, there is nothing you have given me that I can't handle. And until you take a moment to breathe and filter what you're going through his word, until you do that, you're not standing because you're trying to do everything else. You're trying to make it work because everybody says you're so good at problem solving. You're trying to do all these different things. Having done all that are not giving you answers, sometimes you just need to stand. Be still. Remove yourself from the emotions. Remove yourself from the demand that is external upon your internal peace. And say to yourself, this has been granted me. It is in my world with permission of my creator. So creator, how do I handle this? You might not get an answer for 3 hours. So you don't answer it for 3 hours, but you don't answer it in your own flesh. Having done all you know naturally from your mind and your philosophy of problem solving, from your training and education and higher learning, from your skill sets on your job, having done all, use every resource you know, and there's no change, no conclusion, no effective way forward. Having done all, you just stand. If you're angry, it is okay to be angry, but do not respond out of anger. Do not respond out of depression. Do not respond out of something holding you down, because you will give an energy that will be contrary to the kingdom's demonstration, to the kingdom's administration, to the kingdom's direction on how to handle problems coming at you, because you will take it out on the person. Don't shoot the messenger. find out what the message is. When you find out that this is not coming from the word of Elohim, I can't shoot that messenger. I can ignore that messenger. But the message, Father, this is what it wants me to do. This is what's presented to me. What's your word say about it? Having done all in your natural mind, even your spiritually flavored mind, filter that through the word. What should I do here? Be patient? Okay, patience is a virtue. Okay, I need strength. And right now, this person's trying my patience. Okay, so if they're trying my patience, then I need to be patient. And they're still going to be talking about, I need an answer. You need to respond. You got to respond. You need to, shut it up. Until I get an answer from this word, until I get a solace in my mind about this situation, I'm not responding. And yes, you're angering me because of your need. And you think that because something's going crazy in your world, I'm here for you. But I need to know what to do. And right now, you clamoring in my ear with all that noise and screaming doesn't change the fact that I still got to vet this through the word. Some might say, having done all to stand.
Having done all to stand.
Are y'all understanding this? Or y'all think I'm just having a moment to just throw off some steam? No, this is what it means. This is how you practically live. This is every day of your life. I don't know if y'all really understand what I'm saying. I asked this question not because I need an answer. I asked this question to make sure you're fully engaged. Are you ever in that situation? Are you practically ever in that situation? Just say yes. Yes, I confess. I'll be there sometimes.
Absolutely.
So what I need for you to understand, and what Paul tried to get us to understand, is listen, having done all, just stand. Stand where? Let's talk about where you stand. I'm almost done. Verse 10. Notice he says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the word. I want y'all to see verse 10. Finally, my brethren. Well, it says be strong in the Lord. Well, the word Lord, capital Lord, there is the word for Adonai, the Son of God. The Son of God is his word. Stand strong, be strong, be strong, be strong in his word. Some of us are so weak in the word, we don't even know the word, when the word, if we knew it, could give us discernment of what's coming at us. Isn't that what Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12 tells us? That, watch this. I want y'all to catch this so y'all can learn this for yourselves. I don't want to just be throwing stuff out here at y'all, but look at Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. I'll come back to Ephesians 6 in a minute. Look at Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. Look at the Bible on the screen. Look at Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. Look at it. Verse 12 says, for the word of Elohim, I need about 5 people to shout the Lord.
The Lord.
So verse 12 again, thank you, 5. Look at verse 12 again. For the word of Elohim, that right there, the word of Elohim is what you see in your Bible, the Lord. Listen, you have to understand that the word of the Lord is Adonai. Now watch, verse 12. For the word, for Adonai, for the word of the Lord is, for the word of God, the Adonai, the word is quick. The word is what? Powerful. The word is what? Sharper than any two-edged sword. The word is piercing, even dividing asunder the negative spirit from your soul. It divides the spirit from soul, and it has the ability to divide joints and marrow. That's how deep and sharp and crystal clear it can cut. That last part of verse 12 says, and the word of Elohim is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart. Let me repeat that. Verse 12. For the word of Elohim is quick and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing, even dividing of soul and spirit, of joints and marrow. And the word of Elohim is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart. Verse 13, neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight. Repeat verse 13. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in the word's sight, but all things are naked and opened unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Somebody say, I got to do the word. Somebody say, I got to do the word. Somebody say, I got to do the word. Say, I got to do the word. And so when you understand that I have to do his word, if I know the word will not let any creature, any person, any enemy, any apparent peer, any colleague, any issue, it will not let it not manifest in my sight. It will give me the intent. It will give me a discernment of the thoughts and the intents of anything approaching me. So when Paul says back here in Ephesians chapter number 6, that we are to stand in the power of his word, in the power of his might. Watch this. Finally, brethren, no matter what comes at you, don't be strong in your opinion. Don't be strong in your viewpoint. Be strong in the power of his might. Be strong in Adonai and the power of Adonai's might. So to do that, verse 11 says, put on the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Put on the whole armor. Well, what's the armor? Verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. So we don't wrestle against human beings. You're not fighting against your ex. You're not fighting against your ex-boss. You're not fighting against the actual police. You're not fighting against your enemy. You're not fighting against someone who just you're not fighting against your children. You're not fighting against your neighbor. You're not fighting against them. You are not fighting against flesh and blood. However, you are fighting against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world. You and I are fighting against spiritual wickedness in high places. Because of that, verse 13, look at it. Verse 13, wherefore, because of that, take unto you, brethren of the faith, the whole armor of Elohim, so that you will be able to withstand in the evil of that day. In the evil day. This does not just mean in the last days. You're going to be able to withstand in the evil day. And if you keep the armor on you, you'll be able to do whatever you need to do to just stand. And whatever the weight of that armor is, you keep it on you. Do you not realize that sometimes the weight of the word of Elohim can in fact be so much a conviction to you or to me, forget you, to me, that I'm like, yeah, well, they still said what they said. And he's like, yeah, but does that give you the right to respond the way you did? Does that give you the right to go at them the way you want to? You're supposed to be angry, but sin not. Didn't Messiah do it? They were killing him. They were beating him. He could have called angels like he told Peter and wiped out everybody with one swoop of the angel's wings if he said, y'all kill these jokers. But he didn't. Oh, we don't like to think like that, do we? But he didn't. What did he do? He withstood the pain, the beating, like a shearer before his sheep is a sheep before his shearers is sheared. He opened not his mouth. Before he went before his slaughter, he mumbled not a word, right? He did not. He just stood on the word. I'm supposed to be here. He stood on the word. Yahweh would not give me more than I can bear. Oh, if we could ever really believe that in the middle of a crisis, rather than preach it from a pre-existing testimony 13 years ago. How about the one you just had 13 seconds ago? Why don't you say that? See, because if you know the word, then you will have a discernment of the thoughts and the intents of those presenting the issue to you. And you don't have to lose your cool. And it can separate that evil spirit on you, that angry spirit on you, that judgmental spirit on you that would love to attach itself to your soul and give you justification to snap at that person because of what they're bringing at you, the drama they're bringing at you, the foolishness they're bringing at you, the anger they're causing you to have. Be angry, but don't sin. Stand on the word. Dress in my armor. Dress in the word. Filter that situation through the word. I'm teaching better than y'all saying amen, but it's okay. I'm going to just keep moving like y'all not even here. And when you understand this, you want to go back and review this video. Many of you need to. I would recommend all of you share this today. I really do. Clubhouse, Facebook, YouTube, hit the share button. Just let the world know that I'm going to do my best. And just, would you do me a favor? Everybody, I'm going to do it myself. Just do me a favor. As many of you as can do it. Type in all caps, stand. Just type in all caps, stand. Just do it. I promise you, it'll bless your life. Having all you could do, just stand. Just type in all caps, stand. All caps, stand. And the enemy of your faith is now hearing your resolve that nothing they bring you will not be used against you. No weapon they bring you will be able to be used against you, because I'm going to stand on his word. I'm going to get discernment as to why this mess is coming to me. And I know it's not the person, it's you evil fighting against the good of my God. And you see me as a way to get to my God. But the fact is, I'm standing in his helmet. I'm standing in his loincloth. I'm standing in his feet shod. I'm standing in his breastplate. I'm standing in his shield. I'm standing in his sword. I got my helmet on. So any dart, any arrow, fiery or otherwise, you shoot at me is going to hit this armor, and I'm going to still be able to stand. I did not say there will not be an impact from the blunt blow of the object you threw, of the object you targeted and hit the mark on. But because I'm armored in his word, I'm armored in his breastplate, I'm armored in his loincloth, I'm armored in his helmet, I'm armored in his feet. My feet are shod at the preparation of the gospel of peace, and I got a shield of faith outside of me externally as well. Wherever you hit me, if I just stand here like I'm dressed like I'm supposed to be, no matter whether your accusation is accurate or inaccurate, if it's coming from a place that is trying to destroy a fellow brethren, I'm going to stand in his word, and I'll be able to stand against the wiles of the enemy of his faith, which happens to be the life I am fueled from, and therefore nothing by any means can hurt you. You gotta understand this thing. Having done all, don't let them get under your skin. Don't let it bother you that you let them get close to you. They got familiar with you. They learned the secrets of you, and now they throwing it in your face. Now they throwing it in the streets. Now they throwing it against the wall. Now they doing this, they doing that. You let them get close. Don't get angry, because they only did what their father can do. And that means that they are the father of Beelzebub. They are the father. They are children of the father of evil. And that's just the way that works. But don't shoot them. Just know, discerning by the word, this is of evil. I'm really talking deeper than y'all say amen. But I want you to understand, this is what you and I have to realize. When we having done, you know what? I'm about to punch you in your forehead and snatch your eyeballs out through your nose. Wait a minute. Hold it. That's not, no, I can't do that. Can I, Father? Father, I can't do that. Can I? I can't do that. Can I do that, Father? I can't. Can I? Okay, wait a minute. Because you know what, brother? What you mean to tell me you sat around me all the time to recon me and then to turn around and use that, and I confided in, and you gonna put that in the, and so you did, and then you said what? And now what I'm here, you know what? You do know who I used to be, right? You keep playing with me, I'm gonna snatch your tongue out through your ear hole. Yes, the left one. I promise you. But Yahweh, I can't do that, right? Okay, you did not tell me to disconfigure them. Okay, you said don't kill them. Okay, Father, help me right now. Okay, somebody shout, stand. I'm gonna 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 stand. Y'all act like y'all don't go through these issues. Y'all act like that thug don't come out you. Y'all act like that diva don't come at you. It do. When you know something has been done to irritate you, to no no end. And you're like, why would you? You know what? But the word says I can't. I can be angry. I can be angry. I can be angry. I don't have to cuss you out. I don't have to snatch your wig. I don't have to pull off your man piece. I don't have to do what I would do. Because the word says I can't. But if I use the word, I can figure out where you're coming from. And I'm a discerner. Now I got the word in me. It's a discerner of the heart and the intent. You know why you're doing this? And you don't even have to tell them, but you can tell the Father, Father, I'm glad I didn't blow up at first. I'm glad I stood and stayed in your helmet of salvation and your breastplate and your loincloth and your feet shodding and your armor. Now I can see hurt people. So that person's really hurt. Father, I pray your comfort, Yahweh Shalom, finds that human that's letting themselves be used by the enemy of your faith and bring them to a place they understand they're being used to bring division, though they think they're bringing more. So I know you don't want me. You said you would that none perish. So I'm praying that even though they're coming at me and they're shooting all these cannons, throwing all these grenades, all these fiery darts at me, I'm gonna stay in your word. They're gonna hit me. They're gonna shock me, but they won't pierce me. They won't kill me. I'm just gonna stand in your word right now, and I'm gonna take what they drop in, and I'm not gonna retaliate.
Amen.
Somebody just say, I'm gonna stand. Somebody say, I'm gonna stand. Somebody say, I'm gonna stay saved. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stay saved. I'm not gonna come at you because you're hurt. I'm realizing it now. I'm discerning. See, that's what Hebrews 12 try to tell you. Paul wrote Ephesians and Paul did write Hebrews. I don't care what theologian tells you contrary. Paul wrote Hebrews. So when you understand this, Paul is telling us that, listen, the word of Elohim, when you use it, it will give you discernment of the type of situation that's presenting itself to you. Filter what you think to do, filter what they're presenting to you through the word. It will give you a discernment of the intents of that situation and the heart of that situation. And then you do the will of Elohim as unto Elohim. Having done all, we got to stand on his word, not on our laurels, not on our opinion. Noses and opinions everyone has. But everyone has access to the word, but not everyone accesses the word when opinions and noses come into your life. So when nosy starts getting in your life, don't get mad. That's the nature of sin. It's associated and it's a bedfellow of being an accuser of the brethren. Let that be where they are. Don't crucify them. Don't execute them. Don't choke them out. Because you can't. And people get it twisted because you're a Christian. You're supposed to turn the other cheek. I ain't got that revelation yet. So if you smack me on the cheek, I know it says turn the other cheek, but is it telling me to turn your other cheek? You know, because that would be you being the other person. Your other cheek would be, because that's my instinct. When you smack me, I'm coming with an uppercut or a right cross or a left hook. That's what's going to happen. It's just instinctively mine. So until I get the revelation, please don't, try Jesus. Because I got hands and I can lay them to pray on a believer, or I can lay them not to pray and produce a miracle for the unbeliever. Y'all gonna learn today. So just so we understand. But when I stand on the word, I'm like, why are they coming at me like this, Yahweh? What is this about? He'll say, filter that through the word. Have you ever been so angry you don't want to hear the word? Come on, y'all. Have you ever been so angry you don't want to hear the word? I can't tell you, as a counselor and as a pastor of so many churches and leaders, how many times they like, look, I need to talk. Okay, cool, let's chat. Okay, first off, you and your feelings, slow down, back up. I don't want to hear about God. I just need you to be a man friend. I need you to be a human friend. If I'm talking to a brother, I just need to be brother to brother right now. I need to know I feel this way. I'm feeling like my alpha male is kicking up and they trying me. I'll forget about the Bible. I'll lay this collar down. I'll take this cross off. I'll choke them with it. And the women like, I don't need Pastor Jones right now. I need Brother Jones to relate and empathize with me and tell me I'm not wrong. I'm like, yeah, I feel you on this, but the word says we can't. And if we don't really put it into a situation where we apply back the word, you ever been so upset where I'm hearing people come to me and tell me, I don't feel like praying, Apostle. I don't want to pray. And Apostle, as a matter of fact, maybe I shouldn't have called you. I should have called Boo Boo. I should have called Lulu. I should have called Susu. I should have called Cece. I should have called BB. Because right now I know you're going to give me the word. And quite frankly, I don't want to hear the word right now. I read the Bible too. I don't want to hear the word right now. You'd be surprised how both men and women act like this. I don't want to hear the word. I don't want to hear the word. And you get like, hey, here's what the word says. Why don't we find out why this is coming at you? You ever been in a situation where you are so infuriated in that moment, it took you by complete surprise and you don't want to hear nothing about no daggone prayer? Come on, Christian, talk to me. Y'all so deep. Y'all, we don't want to talk about that. I don't want to pray. Well, let's pray. Let's slow down. The reason for prayer is to talk to the Father together. Father, you know what's happening. Tell us why it's happening. I don't want to pray. They did it. They drew first blood. Oh, I'm going to get a pound of flesh, bro. I'm going to get me a pound of flesh. Matter of fact, I'm coming. People, I'm like, hey, I get it. Trust me. I know. And she got an Adam's apple. I don't know. I'm going to let her know. You going to come in? I'm going to snatch it out for them. It's like, y'all have no idea the conversations I deal with. How many of you have ever been in a condition, in a state of mind as a believer, you so sanctified and holy on Sunday, but Tuesday, they said the wrong thing at the wrong time and too many times. And I let you in my world and you did this? Ooh. Everybody go night-night. Nobody, just me. Y'all not gonna talk to me. Y'all not gonna talk to me that y'all am I too animated for y'all? So I want you to understand, it's not that you don't have the right to be angry, but the only right you have is to be still and know that he is Elohim, and know that he allowed this to come your way, and know that he, Elohim, will never give you more than you can bear. We don't like to hear this, do we? Because you want to think, well, Apostle's just trying to justify this, that, other. No, dear heart. I'm with you in the trenches, and I know in the trenches how many people I've had to sit on like I'm sitting on a grenade to spare everybody else in the bunk, because you are about to go off. And if we can get you through that expression and we can get you through that explosion, you will then see later, yeah, you're right, I shouldn't have. I'm sorry, man. I apologize. I shouldn't have been that upset. I should, you know what? I'm supposed to be apostle. I'm so embarrassed. No, don't be embarrassed, because I'm the same way. You might have to do that for me one day. But we do know the instructions that Paul tried to admonish, and we have seen it many times. Wherefore, my brethren, be strong in his word. Verse 10, be strong in his word. Put on the power of his might. You're not wrestling against that person. The biggest problem for most of us is we think we're wrestling against that person, and it's not that person you're wrestling against. The issue is, this is why I tell people, don't make it personal. Oh, this personal. This personal. It's not personal. The only way it's personal is that the enemy used the personnel of humanity that was most inclined to being used of evil to make you fall back on your faith. It ain't personal. They use the person, but this ain't personal. Watch, y'all. This battle ain't yours. This battle not even about you. And if you do what his word says, it will be for you. Because this evil versus good is a battle between evil and the good of Elohim, and you just happen to be in the middle. And to promote its agenda, it has to come through Elohim's fence. That's you and me. That's why we just stand. All we do is stand. The kingdom can't be attacked if we stand in his word. The word is our force field. You will feel it, but you won't be damaged by it. It can hurt, but you will clearly recover and be stronger in the recovery. But we just can't control our tongues. We can't control our mouths. We can't control our judgmentalism. And we say, we want to be better. We want to be greater. We want to be used of God. Sometimes the usage of God is for you to just sit still. The best way Yahweh can use any of us is to be on post when the enemy attacks the kingdom. Guess what? If there's a crack in the hedge of the kingdom of Elohim, that's where the enemy, the serpent, sneaks in and bites, because there's a crack in the hedge. So if you and I are standing side by side, fully dressed in his armor, the enemy can't get through here. But if I'm in my feelings and feeling weird, now the enemy can come through and crack and snap. You still look like you saved, but you don't let your armor down. Because when you got your right hand up with the force, with the force of his shield, you can't get penetrated. The kingdom can't get penetrated. It's until you both decide to fall out of formation that the enemy now can come into the kingdom. They can't win, but people will make that look like a laughing stock. And this is where you and I got to understand. When your brethren and your fellowship is going through something, you keep on the armor. What does the word say about this situation? Having done all, just stand. Finishing the last passage of that writ, let's go to verse number 12. Verse 12 says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principality, against power, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in places. Verse 13, wherefore, because of that, you have to take on you the whole armor of Elohim, that you might be able to stand in the evil day, having done all, stand. Verse 14, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth. Truth is the word. And having on the breastplate of righteousness. Where do you find righteousness? In his word. Verse 15, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Where do you find the gospel of shalom? In his word. Above all of that, take the shield of faith. What? Faith comes by hearing. Hearing comes by the word of Elohim. Wherewith, if you do that, you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Verse 17, and take the helmet of salvation. What is salvation? His word. And then take the sword of the Spirit, which is what? The word of Elohim. So everything about you standing is you standing fully dressed in his word. Not your opinion. Not your feelings. not your anger and your wrath. It's okay to feel it, but you can't operate and exude from it. You take that anger and you filter it through the word. And then you find out, why am I angry? Filter it through the word. You find out what they're saying, you filter it through the word. And then the word will give you discernment of whether that person even knows they're being used of the enemy. Whether it is to accuse you as a brethren, which is accuse of the brethren is Satan, right? Only Satan is the accuser of the brethren. So clearly, this ain't the will of Elohim. And if there is something that was legitimately a problem for you and you had to address it, you go to your brother privately. You don't shoot, rockets and RPGs at them from across the field. All of this. And it's real weird for me how many people trying to make it, their business to say, oh, I'm saved, I'm sanctified, I'm Holy Ghost filled, I'm fire baptized. You may be all of that. But if you can't honor his word and do what his word says, none of that glorifies the King. Because you have a form of godliness, but you deny the very power thereof. I hope today we've been somewhat informative, not accusatory, but enlightening of how we can easily slip into this from so many different avenues of where we disobey rather than comply with the instructions that Elohim has given us. Well, beloved, my job is done here. I hope that you found this in a consideration. Let's do something to help those of you who tuned in late. I'm going to reread the challenge of January. We've got another 7 days of this challenge. And before we let you go, some of you have been on your lunch break and some of you have taken these words. Let's go to Ephesians 6, verses 5 through 9. I want you to hear these words. I want you to understand them. This is a part of the challenge. Every day we're taking Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5 says, servants, that means workers, be obedient to them that are your masters, your bosses, your supervisors, your owners, according to the flesh. Do that with fear, reverence, and with trembling, another element of reverence. Do it in singleness, pure focus of your heart, as if you're doing it unto Messiah. Verse 6, don't do it with eye service. Don't be a men pleaser, but do it as if you are a servant of Messiah, doing the will of Elohim from your heart. Verse 7, do it with goodwill. That's how you do your service, as unto Adonai, and not unto men, knowing that whatsoever good thing any man does, that same good thing shall that man or woman receive of Adonai, whether he be bond or free. Verse 9, and you masters, do the same things unto them, forbearing threatening, knowing, Mr. Boss Man, Mrs. Boss Man, Mrs. Boss Chick, knowing that your master also is in heaven, neither is there respect of persons with him. Finally, my brethren, be strong in Adonai, be strong in his word, and in the power of his word's might. Okay. All right. So I hope that today this has been of some sense of clarity and aid to push you into a way that the Father can be glorified in your life and you can be kept from drama and stress and burdens you ought not need to bear that can trigger you and me to end up in depression. And then we wonder how we got there. Yes, it happens to you Christian leaders too. You get depressed because you're oppressed, because we did not stay dressed. Oh, make that a quote. Run, Forrest, run. Do not think that you cannot get depressed as a Christian. I don't suffer with depression. Yes, you do. When you allow yourself to get oppressed because you've been undressed. Therefore, you don't know how to address the situations in front of you. Man, I'm I'm on a roll today. I'm spitting fire. Lyrics, bars. Y'all got to help a brother out. I'm sorry. I need that to be a quote. Ain't nobody quote fast enough. I want music to that one. Shabbat. Where's my son? My son he gonna do something with that. I promise you. Hey. Did y'all like that? If y'all like that, give me the fire bar. Give me the fires. Give me some fire. Just give me two. Nobody give me fire. Y'all give me fire. There you go. I see it on Clubhouse. That's like fire bars. Anybody come from my area, just type in bars. Cipher. Brother Ben, you reading from the Sefer, right? So just cipher. That's what we're doing. All right. Thanks, Linda Longsworth. Wanda Floyd. Bars. All right. We want to do that quickly. Matter of fact, you know what? We want to make that a reel. We're going to make that a reel so we can get it up there. Thanks, you guys, for typing in on Facebook and those of you on YouTube. I don't know if YouTube dropped out. I don't see anything from them. But it's very important to understand these things. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face to shine on you and be gracious unto you. May Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and grant you all 13 attributes of his shalom. This we pray and we ask in the precious and the matchless and the mighty name of he who is Yeshua HaMashiach. I pray his grace upon each of you. And may you hopefully see you tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bible study right here on the Proceeding Word. Bible study right here on the same channel as the Proceeding Word. And tonight we'll be dealing with the Feast of Yahweh. And I want you to understand these appointed times, how they're designed to bless you in every area of your life. Well, I got an announcement for you guys. I hope that you can embrace it just for a few moments. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that this message has been a blessing to your very life and your soul, and more importantly, your walk with the King. Well, we have come to the end. I hope that you would consider becoming either a partner with us in ministry, or if you're not already a kingdom citizen, consider becoming one. By doing that, you can sow into this ministry so that we are able to continue to teach this type of ministry at a grand scale. Join us on all of our social media platforms and visit our webpage to make your contributions sure. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Shalom Aleichem.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. No need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.